Hello everyone and welcome to this double game week 20 press conference live stream with me, Holly Shand. There's a hell of a lot to discuss today. It's been a busy week for FPL managers, lots of big decisions to make ahead of the double game week deadline. Lots of key transfers. Do we need to triple captain? Are we going to single captain? Do we captain Rashford? Do we captain Haaland? Plenty of injuries floating around as well, lots of speculation. We've had press conference update from Klopp already on Darwin Núñez. I've still got to make my transfers as well. We've got lots of press conferences, including Pep Guardiola is going to be quite a big one. I think Conte is on at 2 o'clock. So I'm going to hang around for that one and potentially make my transfers live. As you can see, I haven't made them yet, but I am pretty sure on what I'm going to do. I'll talk you through them in a second, but if you are here, make sure to like the stream and subscribe to the channel and drop your questions in the chat, say hello as well, and I'll go through as many as I can in the next hour or so. So first of all then, my team, as you can see, the triple captainship is active. Transfers, I've still got to make them, but I'm pretty happy with the plan. I'm on 3 doublers at the minute, Walker, De Bruyne and Haaland. I'm happy to stick with those 3. I'm hopeful that Walker will get some game time, but if he doesn't, he doesn't. And then I'm going to be transferring out Bueno to bring in Luke Shaw. I'm going to be transferring out Salah to bring in Rashford. And I'm going to be transferring out Mitrovic to get in Harry Kane. So they're the moves I'm going to make. I'll probably make them at about 2:10 once we've had Conte's press conference. Annoyingly, his is the last one of the day, but you know, I think we've got 8 to 10 press conferences coming up at 1 o'clock. I've got the tweet deck open so that I can cover all of them for you guys now. So we're just going to keep an eye there on everything that's coming in on the news wires and from the journalists as well. It's pretty quiet at the minute. There's just a situation regarding Darwin Núñez. Klopp basically said that if he's not been in training, but he could be available, but if he doesn't train today, then he'll be ruled out. So basically he's been a bit coy on the situation, but I'd be very surprised if Núñez did start. Other than that, that is it for now. There are a couple of press conferences at 1 o'clock, but as I've said, most of them are coming up at 1:30. So if I hop over to the chat, come and say hello, drop your questions in for the double game week deadline because it's set to be a big one, and I'm sure lots of you have still got plenty of dilemmas. I've already seen Josh say that he's on triple captain Haaland, which is quite exciting. I'm glad that I'm not going to be the only one for that. Lots of speculation as always whether that is the right call, but it's something that I'm just going to go for because at the end of the day, I want to triple captain Haaland this season. Why wouldn't you, given, you know, what he's delivered so far this season? Yes, the fixtures look a bit better for double game week 23. So this week, Man City play Manchester United and Spurs at home. And then in double game week 23, they play Aston Villa at home and Arsenal away. So the home fixture against Aston Villa is easier potentially than the Spurs fixture. Away fixtures are about a par. The derby game against Manchester United v top of the table as it stands, Arsenal, a huge 6-point game that one could be there. So they're kind of on a par, but you know, City's squad is pretty much fully fit at the moment. Haaland's fully fit at the moment. That may not be the case when we get to the middle of February in a month's time. So why not go with the double game week captaincy when we know that it's viable this week? A few hellos in the chat, so thank you for joining me today. Ericsson is in, as is Nelson. Omawara is in, and James, Pollard and Atto. So thank you so much for joining. If you are here, hit that like button as well. All of your support will help me in growing the channel. So any questions that you've got, this is a good time to ask questions now because at 1:30 we are, as I said, going to move over to the tweet deck to get that information on the latest managers' comments, but most of them are coming at 1:30. So now is the time to drop your questions in and we'll go through as many of them as I can. I'm guessing there'll be lots of similar questions in there, so it'll be interesting to see what questions and queries you've got at the moment. So first question we've got in from Erexim says, what time is Pep's press conference? 1:30. Pep is actually quite good at turning up on time to these as well. So that's something that's worth noting. It's been a bit of a quiet week on, proper news. I think, we had Arteta in the situation with Saka being subbed early in the FA Cup. That's something that we'll want information from at 1:30 as well. It's also been a quiet week for price rises, so I think a lot of people are waiting until this afternoon. And just be aware, guys, the deadline is tonight, 6:30 UK time, because Aston Villa against Leeds. I mean, I doubt many people will have any players for that fixture. I might just check the relative ownerships of the Villa players and the Leeds players, but I doubt many managers will have players involved in that game. Potentially, a Villa player in there. Leeds, I think Rodrigo's quite popular, and rightly so, because the fixture swing for Leeds is here. But yeah, it's not going to be a great game for points, but then Manchester derby, first kickoff on Saturday, is obviously going to get things going. Onwara says, start or bench between Foden or Andreas, Gabriel or Trippier. I'd definitely bench Gabriel to play Trippier. I mean, Trippier, he's got to be the first name on your team sheet. Like, the consistency he's provided this season. He's got 18 18 total returns in 18 games. Newcastle have played 18 games this season. You've got to start him. Foden or Andreas, obviously start Foden because he's got 2 fixtures. And, I know a lot of managers are frustrated with Foden now, and I can understand why. But if you've gone for Foden, I think you just need to keep the faith with him and hope that he gets minutes across the 2 fixtures. I can't see him getting significantly less minutes than other Man City assets this week. I don't think that will happen. I think, he's fairly likely to get like 120 minutes, something like that. So I don't think it's a bad thing backing him. James has asked the best double game week player outside the main 5. So the main 5, according to James, and I've got to agree here, are Haaland, KDB, Kane, Rashford and Shaw. Now, if we look at Man City, we need news on John Stones for a start. To be fair, I think that Stones is in the situation where he's potentially rested in the League Cup, but Pep needed an excuse. That's what I'm hoping for. Hopefully we'll get something positive in Pep's press conference on that one, because the word has been that he's been in training, so I think he should be okay. So I think Man City's defence, although it's disappointed us in recent games, it has actually been doing okay in terms of they've conceded no big chances over the last 3 game weeks. So he could be a good player to actually bet on at this point. So I like Stones. Looking elsewhere, I don't think I'd particularly be interested in anyone else from Man City. I've had Ederson in the past. It's not really worked out for me. It's never as good as you think it's going to be. From Manchester United, I mean, because the fixtures are tricky, I wouldn't want to be doubling up on the defence. Dalot has still got a bit of an injury concern anyway. De Gea, do you really want a goalkeeper transfer? The attackers, Martial, I don't understand why people are getting Martial, because I think he's going to lose his place soon. I think he's fine to hold, but not really necessarily a buy. Spurs, Son, not heard a lot of chat about Son recently. I think he's actually top for shots on target across midfielders since the restart though. Got that goal against Palace. You never know when he's going to pop up. I think if I was on like a free hit this week, not that I'd recommend playing a free hit, but I think if I was on a free hit, I'd be tempted to go with Sonny. Matt Doherty is also a good option because he is top for defenders in terms of shots. He's the most attacking of the Spurs fullbacks right now. A lot of managers I see going for Perisic because either they feel he's more nailed or, he's the better option because he's more expensive. But no, Doherty when fit is a brilliant FPL asset. So I'd look at him. And then Crystal Palace I'd just avoid. Pollard has said captain Rashford or Haaland. Rashford has the form. He's scored in 6 consecutive games in all competitions since the restart. 7 goals, 3 assists. And that's massive for his confidence as well. So for me, I think that Rashford is a very good captain pick this week. But, Haaland is the game breaker. The fact that he was the fastest player ever to 20 Premier League goals, doing it in 14 games, that just shows his class. So I don't think you can ever bet against Haaland. So it's an easy decision for me. And, with a lot of managers like myself looking to play the triple captain, I think Haaland's ownership could easily be over 200% this week. Rashford will get a few captaincy armbands. His ownership probably over 100%. But for me, out of the two, Haaland wins out every time. I know some managers find it a little bit harder to make that decision than me, but, for me, it is an easy choice. You just go with Haaland. Atto says hello, as does Niraj. Thank you for joining. Nelson says, who is the best 6 million or under replacement for Ake? For Cancelo, possibly Ake, yeah. I don't mind Ake, but I don't feel like he's probably quite as nailed as some of the other options you could be considering. And I do feel like we need to hold out for some news on Stones, because if he's available, that is a bit of a game changer again. I'm just going to pop and have a quick look as to what is happening. I think we've got quotes from Patrick Vieira at the minute, but yeah, I can't see anything else too much. There's a lot going on in terms of the news in the football world right now with the transfer window open. So it's going to take a little bit more scanning today. But in terms of other defenders, you can look towards potentially another Newcastle United defender if you're only on Trippier, by adding in Botman, Luke Shaw if you don't own him already, Matt Doherty that I've mentioned as well. Something to keep in mind is the future double game weeks and blank game weeks. The first of which, and this is all from Ben Krellin, is double game week 25. So I guess the odds for the double game week 25 blanks will be that we see a League Cup final of Manchester United against Newcastle United. Apologies to Leeds and West Ham fans in there. But Manchester United and Newcastle United are the teams that are favourites to progress through to the final. And if that is the case, then Manchester United, Brentford, Newcastle United and Brighton would all miss game week 25. So if you brought in another Newcastle United defender, you could just be giving yourselves more of a headache in terms of getting 11 players out that week. So that's just something to keep in mind. But, we're only at game week 20. A lot could change between now and then. So I wouldn't let it dictate your decision too much, but it is something that we've got to think about. Gianpaolo says, hello, thank you for joining. Valter says, Aston Villa can be a tough one, in my opinion. Emery can turn that team onto one that's hard to beat. Yeah, Aston Villa are a bit of a hidden gem at the moment, I'd say. Just in terms of their last few performances, they lost 3-1 at home to Liverpool, then they beat Spurs away 2-0, then they drew at home to Wolves. You don't quite know what you're going to get, but the fixtures are there over the next 3, so it'll be interesting to see how they arrive at game week 23, which is the other plausible time, as we said, where we know that we could triple captain Haaland and not be in a position where the double's more attractive to use other chips. Pollard said, is Tony going to start? I think we will hear from the Brentford manager at 1:30. Manchester United press conference is coming at 1:30 as well. I feel like I saw something like, I might be making this up, I'm sure I saw somewhere that Martial hadn't been in training at some point. Maybe I've got that wrong, but could be explosive. I hope everyone took my advice from earlier in the week, which was not to make any early transfers, but I know that is definitely easier said than done. Keep your questions coming in, guys, by the way, and I can see that there's 83 of you in at the moment, so if you are in here, make sure that you like and subscribe to the channel as well. I am going to set up a poll as well. Captain plans for double game week 20, and the options are Haaland, triple Haaland, and sorry for anyone that was planning on doing anything radical, but the other options are Rashford and triple captain Rashford. I've seen quite a few people weighing up the triple captaincy on Rashford, and if Haaland didn't exist, then it'd probably be something that I was considering as well this week. So interesting to see your thoughts on that one as well. Yeah, Pollard said is Tony going to start, so we'll see what's said. I'm a bit on the fence with Tony at the moment with the injury, and then we've got the fact that he's got those FA charges against him. That's obviously a developing situation as well. We'll have to see how all of that pans out. Faircase says, thanks for the awesome content as always. Thank you. Gianpaolo, any news from Pep? Needs a Cancelo replacement. I don't think Pep's going to tell us Cancelo's going to start the next two or he's going to be on the bench for the next two. That's not the sort of information we're going to get. But Cancelo, it's really weird this. I mean, I'm really relieved I didn't get him for the restart. But since he got that red card in game week 15 against Fulham, he started game week 16 against Brentford, which they lost 2-1. And I feel like Cancelo was kind of responsible for at least one of the goals they conceded. Then it was bench, not in the squad at all. Sorry, a 22-minute substitute. He stayed on the bench against Everton, and then he started the Chelsea game and was subbed at half-time. So what is going on there? Is it the red card or is it something else? Tiago says, hi Holly, a -4 to bring Mitoma in. Now, Mitoma is a great transfer target for the long term. He's looked sensational. He's a cheap price as well. Whether you need to do it this week for a hit when they play Liverpool at home, I'm not sure. Although you look at Liverpool's defence at the moment, especially with Van Dijk out now as well, and you do think that, you know, that's actually quite a favourable fixture. So for me, is it worth a -4? I'm not convinced it's worth a -4. I'll certainly do it for a free transfer, but I think if it's the case of taking a hit or not, I'd just wait till next week. We've also got to bear in mind, and I'm going to jump across to Ben Crellin and his spreadsheets again, that game week 21 could be a double game week. Now, did I see somewhere? It's game week 22. We could see Manchester United and Leeds face each other, but game week 21 could still be a double game week. We don't know yet. So that's obviously quite important. I don't think Brighton are predicted to be involved in those, I think, because of the replay that they face. But we've got to bear in mind that the climate could change quite quickly. So that's just something to keep an eye on as well. I'm just going to hop onto Twitter again and see if we've got any updates from these press conferences yet. I doubt it, but we'll see if there's anything floating around, because I don't want to miss anything for you guys. Yeah, it's all looking pretty quiet at the minute. David Moyes will be speaking to the press at 1:30 as well, so that's another one to add to the list. Keep your questions coming, those guys. Jacob says, hit Cucurella to Shaw. I think Luke Shaw's a good long-term option because of his attacking threat, the amount of bonus points he's collecting at the moment. Manchester United defences look very good. Despite the easy fixtures, I still think that they're a team on the up. So, you know, clean sheet potential is always going to be there. So I think as a long-term move, I think it's still a good move to make. Ferk says, question, I'm trying to fund Pereira to Rashford. Should I do it with Cancelo to Lewis or Mitrovic Ferguson? Now, that is a difficult one. I think Cancelo to Lewis kind of makes sense. The thing that I don't like about Rico Lewis is, say if he was to lose his place to Walker, which could easily happen, yeah, then you're stuck with a really budget player that's stopping you from a City triple up. You'll then have to make 2 transfers to get a third City player in potentially, which is something we, conceivably might want to do along the line. So that's my reservation there on that, but I can understand why you'd want to do that. Mitrovic is a great player long term, so I probably wouldn't sell him to move to a 3-5-2. That's just the decisions that we've got to weigh up though. It is a tough one, that one. It is a tough one. Ahmed says buy Mahrez for a -4. No, I'm not feeling the love for Mahrez right now. It depends who you're selling as well, Ahmed. I'd like to know what the wider move is. I'm just dropping a message. I was a bit disorganised, I'll be honest, pre-stream. But I've just dropped a message in to subscribe to the channel and a link to my Discord channel as well, where you can chat with me and other FPL managers all throughout the week, rather than just waiting until today's stream. Sinio says, is Cancelo expected to start? I think I saw something somewhere on Twitter at some point. Let me find it. I bookmarked it. It's going to have gone now, isn't it? Don't know where it is now, but I saw something on Twitter about a rumoured 11 for City for the derby. And it was Walker and Cancelo that were down as the fullbacks, but who knows? It's all just speculation at this point. Niraj says bench one of Martinelli, Mount, Andreas, Mitrovic. I think out of those ones I'd bench Andreas. Gazman, afternoon Holly, just down to whether to triple captain Haaland now. Have I missed it? Yeah, potentially. I'm doing it. I want to triple captain Haaland this season. I know that he's fit and available for this double. I know that his, best teammates are available for this double. So I'm just going to do it now rather than wait till 23, which is slightly easier, but not quite as attractive. Just one thing to bear in mind, guys. So this is the Fantasy Football Hub points prediction tool. And if you click on the link in this description, you can get full access to all this and all of the other Fantasy Football Hub tools with 30% off your membership. They put Haaland's points potential at 14.2 points for double game week 20 and at 12.4 points for double game week 23. So maybe the fixtures are better this week. And there's been a few stats floating around as well. I think Big Man Bakar posted some about how Manchester United and Spurs, although their defences have been okay of late, they have looked more vulnerable centrally and from set pieces, which obviously lends itself to Haaland. So that's potentially why there's that discrepancy in the algorithm there. But do go check that out if you fancy being able to customise that all for yourself. Hop back on Twitter, see if anything is happening. It looks like David Moyes has potentially started his press conference, but I don't think we've got any quotes from them yet. I think some of these quotes from Pep are ones not from today. Question on Laporte. I don't actually know what the situation is with Laporte right now, but hopefully Pep will tell us. More questions on waiting until game week 23 to triple captain Haaland. Hopefully I've answered those for you. Football Dion Minuto says, should I bring a Shaw for Cancelo? Yeah, I would do that one. I think that's an easy move. And Bemo is fit. I don't think I knew that he wasn't fit. Yeah, it's not flagged or anything. Arundi says, brought in Akanji in place of Cucurella for the second free transfer. Shall I bring in KDB for Salah or Mahrez for Mount? Now that's difficult because I feel like KDB is more essential this week, but if there's a way to keep Salah, then I don't mind the move for Mahrez, but I do think that KDB to Salah will pay off. I think it's the fact that Liverpool could potentially have a double soon that puts me off Salah. I feel like if Salah got to move centrally, then that'd really help his potential in FPL, and I can't see that happening I can see that happening quite soon. Mogsy said, which Arsenal defender would you go for? I mean, personally, I'd really fancy tripling up on the Arsenal attack right now. One thing that I was in a bit of a dilemma about, and it'd be interesting to hear on the chat. My plan is to sell Bueno for sure, but I could also sell Gabriel for sure, which will take me down to 2 Arsenal players so that I could upgrade one of my midfielders to Odegaard. Now, there's a couple of reasons why I've not done this yet. The first being that I really want triple Arsenal long term, and I can see things happening if I did this to stop me getting to Odegaard next week, particularly because I can't just upgrade Andreas straight away. And I don't want to be in a situation where a few weeks down the line I've missed out on having triple Arsenal because other things have cropped up. So if I'm making the switch from Gabriel to Odegaard at some point, I kind of want to do it with the transfers in the same week. Stephen says, get rid of all Liverpool players and you're smart. Yeah, you probably wouldn't want to be invested in a defence at the moment. Gazman said, Martial not in training picks, and Ten Hag also suggested that he's not up to playing multiple 90s in a row. Yeah, that's quite obvious by the fact that he's been substituted around 70 minutes in the last few games. Right, let's see. Have we got any updates yet? No, I don't think we've got anything at the moment. We'll keep checking on it, guys. Will says best differentials. I think I've mentioned some of these already. But in defence, Matt Doherty, 0.9% owned. In midfield, Son, 6.4% owned. In terms of forwards, a bit trickier on the forward line, if I'm honest. Especially those that double. Will we see minutes from Alvarez? He's a massive differential, but he's played 3 minutes since the restart. I know Pep's been a bit coy about, players that have been at the World Cup or whatever. But I'd like to have seen more minutes than that. Sandrome says Haaland or Rashford as cap for triple game week 23. For game week 23, Haaland's got the double game week and Rashford hasn't there. Valtus says game week 23 is the week before City's Champions League game. It will drive Pep crazy and maybe into crazy decisions. Let's have a look at the fixtures. I find it hard to see if they're not all. We'll trust Google. Yeah, so there is another game because the double is Villa and Arsenal. Then it's Forest. Then Champions League. So I feel like it probably... there's no let-up in the schedule, is there? But I think he'll probably... you've got a bit of a gap there. I think he'll probably rest players for the Forest game. Apologies, Forest fans. That's probably good news for Forest fans, if I'm honest. Yeah, Ten Hag's warming up for his press conference. Wolves manager is in as well. So it's not going to be long before we start getting these updates. Emmanuel has asked about John Stones. We will get news on him soon, do not worry. FPL Harry is in. I'm sure he's waiting for news on John Stones as well. De Zerbi is in to speak to Brighton. Will Nunes play? We do not know, Seog. He could play, he could not play. It depends if he's in training today. So if we get training pictures, that might help. You may run out of time, but I think it's an easy sell for Kane if you've got him at the moment. Ahmed wants to buy Mahrez for a -4. Braver than me. Ember's talking triple captain. My triple captain is active on Haaland. Chewy says, is Cancelo to Shaw for a -4 worth it? I think so. Real MK says, what about Dan Burn? I feel like he's got his goal for the season now and it didn't come in the Premier League. I think in terms of a second Newcastle defender, Shah is the one that has the most goal threat. The only issue is he's 1 yellow away from a suspension, but that gets reset after the Fulham game. So whether you want to take the risk I mean, I can't remember who Newcastle play next. Come on, Holly. Crystal Palace. So you'd rather have him for that game than not, especially if you take a note of the other press conferences, the other fixtures around it, sorry. Right. This is where everything should start flooding in. So I'm going to keep the tweet deck open now, but I'm going to continue answering your questions. Next Joe says, Captain Kane. I think I was burned by Mitrovic this week in terms of getting a booking and missing the second game. That could easily happen for Kane this week. Graham Potter's talking about Pulisic, not necessarily that useful for FPL, but we'll keep an eye on things. Fazal says, talk about Mahrez if -4 is in consideration. Many are thinking about it. I wouldn't do a -4 for Mahrez. I swear I've been at a double game week before for Man City, and it's like Mahrez kind of plays every other game, but surely over 2 games he'll get 120 minutes. I think he ended up with about 30 and blanked. So, you know, the fact that I've been burned in the past makes me not want to make the move. Napoleon says, can I triple captain Rashford or leave the triple captain tip? You need to decide when to triple captain, Napoleon. It's perfectly plausible to captain or triple captain Haaland or Rashford this week. There will be opportunities down the line to use the chip as well. I've just seen Sam Martin posting about Planet FPL's latest pod, and I'm kind of going to say the same. Make sure that you listen to that one, because it should really help you in terms of knowing when the blanks are, when the doubles are, when you'll want to use the chips. Veghorst not available for tomorrow. So maybe that means Martial will start. But, you know, that is going to be a concern for managers with Martial, because he could easily start against Palace. I think Martial did score a brace in the reverse fixture. Surely Núñez can't start. If he cannot train today, then yes, that would rule him out. I think you know, Klopp's done all the Núñez owners a favour there, because he needed to be sold anyway, even before the injury. Arnara says, replace Darwin and Trossard to Kane and De Silva. Is this okay? I wouldn't go De Silva. He is a defensive mid. If you can get Mitoma, he would be a better option. Next row saying, should I captain Kane or Haaland? Do not captain Kane. If he is booked in a North London derby, he'd miss the City game, exactly like Martial did. Sorry, exactly like Mitrovic did this week. Com says, is it worth a -8 to get Cancelo and Kepa to Doherty and Edison? No, definitely not. I'd do Cancelo to Doherty though for a -4, potentially. So, I mean, it is a little bit risky, isn't it? He's here. Pep Guardiola, here we go. Feel like I'm channeling my inner Fabrizio at the moment. When will we know the other doubles? Who knows? That's the Premier League, but I don't think we'll get any before the deadline. I think some are waiting on the outcomes of FA Cup 4th round replays. FA Cup 3rd round replay, sorry. Tony injury update should be coming out Brentford. What you'll see, because I follow quite a few journalists on Twitter that make up this list, is that you'll get the same comment repeated. So we had comments on Veghorst, and they're just being repeated by various places. But it does make sure that we don't miss anything. Yaya Arsenal says, Núñez to Mbeumo, Kulusevski for Son, to Son with 2 free transfers. I think Kulusevski's back in training. Let's see what Conte says at 2 o'clock. And we're only 24 minutes away. Anaruda says, bought in Akanji in place of Cucurella for the second free transfer. Shall I bring in KDB for Salah or Mahrez for Mount? I'm sure you've asked me that one already. Oh, this is interesting. Conte will be with us shortly. Does that mean his press conference is earlier than 2 o'clock? I'm sure someone posted. Maybe Conte's press conference is at 1:30. I hope so. Let's see. I mean, I don't know why journalists are asking in Pep's press conference about Mendy. Potter's being asked about Felix as well. I mean, you've got to laugh, haven't you? Paid all that money for him, rushed through that work permit so that he could play against Fulham, and he gets sent off. Crazy. Global betting tips. We're waiting for Conte's press conference to know about Kulusevski. Yusuf asking about a triple captain. It's your decision. You don't just triple captain him because I'm triple captaining him. I've had awful luck with a triple captainship, you know. Mane, when he got injured in the first game, got a 1-pointer. I was there for that. Kane missed the first game, sub in the second game. I was there for that. Andy Carroll, I was there for that one. You know, do not just go for it because you think Holly's doing it, so I'm going to do it. Do it because you think it's a good idea. Yo, get your notifications on. Sam says, 2 free transfers, worth going Foden, Havertz, Almiron, Kane. Yeah, don't mind those moves. We're starting to get first things through from the press conferences now. But it's mainly to do with, you know, the fixtures at the moment. Lampard says that DCL is in a good place. It's always encouraging to hear. There's a lot of talk about City and their defeat 6-3 of Manchester United in the last derby. Haaland got 23 points in that game. He got a hat-trick, couple of assists as well. Zayed says worth bringing in De Bruyne, Kane and Mbomo for a -8. It depends who you're selling. I don't really love the -8, but, you know, KDB, Kane, good options long term. Baker A says Stones or Ake to replace Cancelo. We need someone to ask Pep in his press conference now about Stones. My feeling is he was maybe just rested for the Cup, in which case I'd say Stones. Similar question, Akanji or Ake. Right, here we go from Manchester United. Diogo Dalot is not available, so we go Shaw. Anthony Martial trained this morning, so we have to wait how he recovered from his training, and that will be decided tomorrow. So Martial is a doubt. I'm going to put that in the chat as well, just so that everyone can read it, because it's probably not the easiest to follow. Let's retweet that. So that's something to keep in mind. John Stones not ready for the derby, says Guardiola. Here we go, it is all going on now. All going on. Hopefully you're finding this useful in real time. So, in terms of City defence now, where do you go? Ake? Akanji? I mean, I'm not really that sold. If Stones is out, it doesn't make their defence look that great, does it? But if you really want one, then, you know, go for it. Oh dear. I knew it was going to be a day like this. Everyone else is okay for City other than Stones, and you know, that's the reason why I'm going to be going with the triple captain, because I think it is a good thing. It's not great, though, to go into the double with, you know, some prime assets and they're not available or doubts. It makes it really, really challenging. What are we going to do? Keep your questions coming, guys, and I will jump back to them. I hope no one made any early transfers on any of these guys, because that must be really frustrating. So we've got Stones out, Martial, probably a late fitness test is the best way of describing that one. Dallo is out as well. That's all we've got at the moment, I think. Unless I've missed something. Do let me know in the chat if I've missed something, but that's how it's looking at the moment, guys. Keep an eye on the deck. See what else is coming in. FPL Focus is panicking. Oh my god, please Martial, play. This FPL season has just been ridiculous. Global betting chips has said Almiron or Odegaard. Odegaard, easily. Easy. Matthew says his son worth it now. Don't mind a punt. Yaham says getting Ben Me, everyone. Why Ben Me? Why is there so much stuff from Bomo as well today? Ahmed wants to sell Darwin and Mount for Matoma and Kane. Yeah, I like that one. But Abadi's not taking a -4 to bring in Kane. What's wrong with that? I'm doing that. Abadi said, is Mitro worth having? Yeah, it's still a good pick long term. Now this is interesting. West Ham have had a bid from Wolves on Craig Dawson, but they haven't accepted it. Still don't understand why Wolves let go of Cody. Strange. This is interesting from Pep. Selection is like a coin. There are players who train really bad and after play really well. I know them, not about a single player. When 11 players don't play good, something is missing. One of the Manchester United guys is saying Rashford 3 in the middle potentially and Garnacho on the left then. So he's obviously thinking that maybe Martial won't play. Interesting. It's all going on. Sorry guys, my voice is going as well and I've not got a drink with me. Totally unprepared. But I have got all this info from the press conferences, so hopefully you're finding it useful. Howell says best budget defenders. I like Matt Doherty. I like the Newcastle United defenders. Rohit says start Martinelli or White. Martinelli for sure. Lou says, will Man City have another double game week? Yes, they double in 23 against Villa and Arsenal. Nick says, is Shaw going to keep his place in the 11? Why wouldn't he? Tell me why he wouldn't. Oh, I see why Focus is panicking. He went Darwin to Martial last night. Why? Why would you do that? Martial was not a buy this week. Sorry, guys. Looks like we're going to have to wait a little bit longer for Conte. Chloe says this does mean that Cancelo, Walker or possibly both might start then. I mean, we can hope. Walker's in my 11. So we can definitely hope, but yeah. Tricky times ahead, that's for sure. Zamar's in. Aruda says, any double game week 21 news? I want to keep Salah for the double. Yeah, you're not going to get any yet. You're not going to get any pre-deadline, I'm afraid. Zamar says, Kane and Matoma or Son and Ferguson. I think I'd go Kane and Matoma. We're still waiting from Brentford on Tony. And the press conference was meant to be at 1:30, but a lot of managers are always late. Nick says Foden clearly is targeted by Pep, potentially. Focus is trying to justify the early transfer. I mean, I really wanted to make my transfers yesterday, but, you know, I thought I'd save it for you guys, so you got it on stream. Hopefully I remember to transfer the right players. Is Weghorst going to play? He's not. I don't think they're going to get him sorted, ready for the derby. He could play against Palace. I wouldn't be surprised to see him. Yeah, Pep's been making some really weird comments about who's going to start in the derby. Matthew says Salah or Son. Don't mind the punt on Son, but I still think that if you can keep hold of Salah, then you should do. SDL Mpo, wait, Martial is not playing yet. I think I put it in the chat somewhere a bit further up. Martial trained this morning, so we have to wait how he recovers from his training, and that will be decided tomorrow. So I think he kind of faces a late fitness test, essentially. Anna Drew says, I have Garnacho on my bench. If Martial is a doubt, he may start. So shall I start Garnacho over Mitrovic, Martinelli or Mount? Yeah, I'd start him over Mount. Who did Chelsea play? Oh, Palace at home. Yeah, it's a bit tricky, isn't it? Right, news from Brighton. Leandro Trossard has been banished from training due to an attitude issue and is not going to play against Liverpool. That is news as well. If anyone's still got Trossard, he needs to be gone. It's all kicking off. I think I would start Garnacho this week. Play some Mount. I think I would. I'd roll the dice. Mount's pretty low owned anyway, yeah? So you're not going to 8.7%. It could go lower. I don't think you're going to get punished for it. There's a lot of people complaining on Twitter about making early transfers. Attitude problems then with Trossard, it's a shame. Someone says, mad for wanting Martinelli out for Eze. Yes. Ignore Palace. Ahmed says start Nketiah or Cucurella. I think I'd start Nketiah. We're still waiting for Conte VL for news on Kulusevski, but it should be coming soon. I think it was 2 o'clock it started. So watch this space is all I can say. Sherop says Mahrez instead of KDB. I mean, I think you get what you pay for. Yeah, Ethan says, is it worth getting -8 for Kane? I think a -8 purely to get Kane is a risk, given that he could be booked in a North London derby. Craig Pawson is the ref. He loves a card. And then he'll miss the City game. But he does love a goal in the North London derby. If Kane is a player you want long term as your second premium, or maybe your third premium in a threemium, then it could pay off. But let me know who's going to make way. I feel like I'm losing my place in the chat now. Mandip says, Hi Holly, is it worth taking a hit to replace Walker and another City defender, or double up on the Newcastle defence? I'm keeping Walker. I think he'll play, particularly if it looks like Rashford's going to start on the left. I mean, I don't know if he will. I've kind of seen him more on the right in recent games, but I think Pep likes the defensive job Walker can do. Abusha, shall I bring in Zaha again? It's not wise just to bring in a double game week just because I've got a double game week. Zaha Hasn't done a lot for weeks. Underlying numbers not there. I wouldn't bother. Nick says, never thought Trossard was a troublemaker. It's always the quiet ones. FPL focus, you just need to pick yourself up. I mean, even if he doesn't make the derby, he could still play against Palace, which is the easier fixture. Same for those of you that have bought Stones early. He could still play against Spurs. I mean, it's annoying because we haven't really got any news of what is wrong with him. Still waiting to hear about Tony. Where are these press conferences? Yeah, 1:30. Haven't heard anything from Arteta yet either. They're never on time, these managers. We'll keep an eye out. Not even seen anything that makes me think that Arsenal have got a press conference on. But the clubs publicise these press conference times and then they do change, so... Doesn't make it easy for locking in transfers though, does it? Yahim says, let's hope Martial be fine. Hope he comes off the bench. Salanese returns. I'm frustrated. Yeah, we could see that. We could see Martial on the bench, but then come on as an impact sub, as we did in the reverse fixture, by the way, guys. It's not easy though. I feel like FPL has been so difficult this season. Don't know why, but it has. We'll get there with it though. We will. Right, let me keep an eye out on things. Surely there must be more coming our way. He's just seeing things continue to float through. We've still got more new tweets from various outlets on Trossard at the moment. FPL Focus, I've got one free transfer, but I'm not using it. Well, you're not exactly in a dire situation then. It's frustrating when you perceive that you've made a mistake, but that's FPL for you. One of them days. Let me see what else we've got coming in then. Do not sell Martinelli for Eze. Mohamed's asking for Darwin news. If he doesn't train today, then he won't be available, but Klopp hasn't, conclusively ruled him in or out, but I would sell him. SDL says, if Pep changes the City team a lot, it may affect Haaland. Triple captainship deactivate. I mean, I don't think it matters too much who's playing alongside Haaland. I think Pep will be putting his best team out. It's the derby. He's 7 points off top. He can't afford to do anything too silly. I think Pep is kind of like loving himself at the moment because he made some strange decisions with the team against Chelsea. Made those subs at half time, bringing off Cancelo and Walker. Then we saw Foden subbed on 60 for and Mahrez and Grealish came on. I think Bernardo Silva was the other one that came off. And then they scored within about 4 minutes. So now Pep's walking around with that, I just made brilliant substitutions, sorry. Well, Van der Beek is out for the rest of the season through injury. That's a shame. He's not had a lot of luck, has he? Valda says, who will be the centre-back pairing for City without Stones? Akanji and Laporte. Yeah, they've not got a lot of options, have they? Obviously with Diaz out as well. I think it'll have to be Akanji and Laporte. Ake can play in there and Cancelo move across. I think Akanji has played... He got subbed in... I know... Did he come on in the Chelsea game? I get confused now. He came on, didn't he? He's kind of been an ever-present though. But who knows with Pep? We can deliberate, but we don't know, do we? We just don't know what's going on in his head, so... It's not helpful. Right, there's 180 of you in at the moment, which is phenomenal. Thank you, guys. Make sure that you hit that like button. Subscribe to the channel as well. I'd love to hit 20k by the end of the season. I need all the help I can get there. Jermaine says, hi, Holly. Bench Mitrovic against Newcastle's strong defence or White against Spurs? White against Spurs, an easy decision. Mitrovic is on pens. You can't bench a player on pens, in my opinion. Misha says, sell Trossard. Yes. Why haven't you done it already? Sam Cancelo for Botman. Yeah, I like that move. Another question on Liverpool news on Darwin. He's not been training all week. If he trains today, or if he doesn't train today, he won't be in the squad. That's what we've got to work on. Beyond that, it's just a nightmare this week. I feel like it's a nightmare every week. Is anyone else finding FPL not that fun this season? Surely it's not just me. It's just a bit of a grind with all of this going on. It seems to be that every time there's a go-to player, there's an injury and some sort of controversy. Siman is doing Mount Tamares. Interesting. Oh, it's just summing up the United news. SEL says, I'm sure Haaland will start, but not sure the changes Pep makes will affect Haaland getting the service. I think he'll be just fine. Nelson said Arteta's press conference is done, just watched it. Why is there nothing coming up on Twitter then? Was anything mentioned on Saka? That's what we want to know, Nelson. Please help us. I did plug into the TV once and did the stream so that I could get all the comments, but my multitasking skills aren't what they were. Niraj says, keep or sell Martial. Keep. He's a keep. Don't sell, don't buy. I'm still waiting for news on Tony as well. I've not seen anything from Brentford. And I'm sure their presser was today at 1:30. Ethan says Havertz or Mitrovic to Tony. Keep Mitrovic for sure. I don't know whether I'd buy Tony right now. Boris says, who's the best buy for Reece James? I think... I mean, I might be wrong, but I'm sure I saw that Reece James is back. Pretty much back. No, maybe not. Maybe I read that wrong. Maybe it was speculation. Get Shaw if you've not got him. Misha says no Stones. Yeah, not for the derby. I mean, whether he's available for the second game or not, we don't know. But you can't buy him now. Certainly can't buy him. So I'm just checking my phone to... I've just seen that someone has tweeted, Ivan Toney is fit and available and due to start tomorrow for Brentford, according to Thomas Frank. Oh no, that's a cup fixture. That's all right. That's not a problem. It's just the FA Cup fixture dates have been announced. I thought it was going to be something more exciting. I thought we was going to get more double game week announcements on stream. That would have probably been too much for me. Well, it just tipped me over the edge, guys. FIFA player, do not sell Martinelli. Why would you do that? He's he's in a ridiculous number of teams. There's only Haaland and Trippier in more teams than Martinelli. He's done nothing to make you think sell. 2 goals and an assist since the restart. You know, goals against Liverpool this season. I don't think you need to be selling him at the moment. Yeah, so I think we've got news that Tony is fit and available. Although there was news that he could make the squad. Wasn't there before and it didn't happen. So, who knows really? I don't think we can read any certainties into that, but let's keep an eye on things. I don't trust Thomas Frank after making it seem that he's going to make the last fixture. Zidane says Ward or Kepa for game week 20. The bookies put Chelsea a far greater chance of a clean sheet, so that makes a decision for me. Phil says, hi Holly, start White, Dunk or Bueno. I think I'd start Bueno, you know. Sunny says if Stones is injured, Cancelo will start. I don't know if that's just wishful thinking. Jahim says Ake going to play. I'm telling you whether centre back or left back. Yeah, I think that does nail Ake on a bit more because there's 2 positions that he's needed for. Teo says no questions, just wishing everyone a good game week. Oh, thank you. So it's gone really quick today, guys. We're still waiting for news from Conte and news from Arsenal, but I don't think anything significant happened. Nelson says Saka should be available for the weekend. That is good for Saka owners. Not that you'd sell him anyway if it was just a slight knock. Elias says Salah to Gakpo, then Mitrovic came for a -8. Is it worth it? I'm not sure it is actually, because Salah and Mitrovic are good players long term anyway. So -8 to bring in 2 other players, including Gakpo, is unproven. I don't think so. Chloe says first season playing FPL and it's been crazy. I do feel for you if this is your first experience of playing FPL and this is what you've been landed with. Niraj said, thought I was the only one, Holly. Yeah, no, you're not. You're not at all. Right, let's see what else we've got coming through. Elias says, Salah... Oh no, you've asked me that one already. Michael says, I went from 900k to 3.2 million in 2 weeks and is close to quitting FPL. Is that where you are now? I've been up and down. I've been up and down like a yo-yo, going from just inside the top 1 million, just outside the top 1 million. It's been crazy. Mike says, selling... Oh, we've got a raid. FPL Focal. He's sent a load of people in. Thank you very much, Oscar, for sending your gang my way. If you are new here, hit that subscribe button. Much appreciated. We're still waiting from Antonio Conte for the Spurs press conference. Not that I'm expecting anything too major, but there's quite a lot of people waiting for news on Kulusevski. So that's what we're waiting for at the moment. So that's why we've got the tweet deck open. Hopefully once we've got Conte's news, then I'm going to make my final transfers. At the moment, I'm making 3 transfers. Bueno is going out for sure. I'm not going to hit confirm yet. Salah is going out for Rashford. Mitrovic out for Kane. And the triple captain Chip is active. Oh, you've got a lot of fans, Focal. I think this is setting some sort of record for me on stream. If I lose my place on the chat now, then Oscar is definitely going to get the blame for it. But yeah, news from the Arsenal presser is that Saka should be available for the weekend. Still waiting for news from Conte, but he should be around any minute. Definitely lost my place in the chat now, guys, so thank you for that one. So in terms of other moves that we're weighing up right now, Abdul says, want to start one of Lucas Dean and Ben White. I think I would start Ben White of those 2. Mike says, selling Cancelo, Mount, Darwin. Shall I go for Botman, Mahrez, Kane or Ake, Matoma, Kane? Ake, Matoma, Kane for me, that sounds, far better in my opinion. Cancelo must be sold. I think I'm on the fence about selling Cancelo now, especially with Stones out. I think there's more chance of him getting a place somewhere in that City defence at some point over the next two. Luckily, I've not got that dilemma, but I do have Kyle Walker, but I am hopeful of getting some minutes out of Walker as well. Still no news from Conte at the moment, but I'll keep jumping back over to see. Valta says, this is my first serious season of FPL, but it's defo a tough one. I feel like there's so many players I want and need. Yeah, I feel your pain there. Everyone that's just joined, make sure you're hitting that like button, subscribing to the channel, get your questions in. Still going to be around for another 10-15 minutes. We're still waiting for that news from Conte. Francis, taking a -8 hit to bring in Kane and Rashford and retain Salah. What do you think, Holly? I think if you've managed to keep hold of Salah, that is not bad. Mohammed said Tony or Wilson for a Núñez replacement. We've got news that Tony's fit, so I like the move for Tony. I think you have to avoid Wilson. He's too inconsistent. I think you're better off doubling up on the Newcastle defence. You do need to bear in mind with Tony, though, these FA charges are going to come to light at some point. So for that reason, I think you do just need to just go into it with your eyes open. Shari says, -4 for Darwin to Tony. Do not buy Tony. He's a doubt for the derby. I think it's fine to hold him if you own him, but I certainly wouldn't bring him in this week. Let Martinelli come off your bench is way better. Francis says, will I kick Cancelo? I mean, if you've not got Luke Shaw, I'd easily do Cancelo to Shaw. Don't mind Cancelo to Doherty either, but, there is a little bit of an argument for keeping Cancelo now that we've got that Stones news. Yeah, we've still got nothing. Let me just refresh to check everything's loading for you guys. But yeah, we've still got absolutely nothing from Conte, but it should be coming soon. So stay with me. We need to know about Kulusevski. We're still waiting for that one. I don't think we're waiting for any other major injury news now, though. Alex says, I've taken a -4 to replace Salah and Mitrovic with De Bruyne and Kane. Haaland as captain, Rashford as vice. Let's just have a look how this captain poll's doing, guys. 58% are on captain Haaland. 26% on triple captain Haaland joining me. Good luck, you guys. 9% Rashford, 5% triple captain Rashford. That's big. I hope it pays off. I have had awful luck with the triple captainship though, so do bear that in mind. You've not got any new double game week announcements either. The only fixture announcements we've had are ones on when the FA Cup TV games are, I think. Elias says, Salah to Gakpo, then Mitrovic to Kane for a -8. No, I wouldn't do that. Gareth says, Cancelo and Ward out for Edison and Botman. I don't think it's worth it, particularly if it's going to be for a hit. I don't think that move will pay off. I've been with Edison before. Really, really frustrating. Alex says, De Bruyne and Martinelli or Mahrez and Salah. De Bruyne and Martinelli, easy. Still waiting on Kulusevski. Ahmed says, White, Botman and Mitrovic, bench one. I think I'd bench White. Teo. Tony and Botman for Cucurella and Havertz for a -4. Yeah, don't mind that one, actually. Whether you want to take a hit on the double game week and not get double game week players, whether you can wait at all, is just something to bear in mind. Conte's late. It's 11 minutes past. These managers can never keep to time. Matthew says, Haaland captain for me. Me too. Good luck. Salah to KDB for a hit. Think just at the whiskey. Salah to De Bruyne, Havertz to Kane, Cucurella to Botman for a -8. I mean, De Bruyne, Kane and Botman are really good picks long term, so I think just You could do it. Alex says thoughts on replacing Cancelo for Burn and Mitrovic for Kane for a -4. I don't think Burn's the best Newcastle United defender. That's one thing that I would say. Shaw's got the more attacking threat. He is 1 yellow off a suspension, but that gets reset after the Fulham game, so he could be worth the risk. That's why everyone's going for Botman now. But yeah, I think I would get Shaw if anyone, but just know the risk. Obviously, you've got Kane that's also 1 off a yellow. Just catching up with all the focal raid messages. The news on Martial is that he's out, late fitness test. Rousey says, would you take a -8 hit to swap Salah, Darwin and Foden for KDB, Kane and Almiron? A -8? But Darwin has to go, yeah? Darwin to Kane is easy. Salah to KDB. If Foden... I think I would keep Foden and just do the -4. Another one, Darwin to Kane for a -4. Yeah, get that done. Alex says, thoughts on replacing Cancelo? We've done that one. Dineth says, Tony or Nketiah. I mean, I personally like Nketiah. I'd be happy to triple up on Arsenal's attack at the moment. Tony, yeah, he's the better goal scorer. You've just got to bear in mind that he could get banned. I mean, we've not heard a lot yet. It's something that's, you know, rumbling under the radar. 13 minutes late for Conte now, but it's good for you guys because at least you're getting some more questions answered. Adasha, what do you suggest regarding Cancelo? Swap for Doherty or me or any other defender, need funds for Kane? Doherty. I like Doherty. I think he's had 6 shots in his last 3 games. Definitely the more attacking of the Spurs fullbacks. Obviously got a goal, more attacking returns coming, I'd say. At the Whiskey, you've already asked me that one. Abriz says, I can't keep up. Who's spamming the chat? Need an admin. I should have got Oscar to come across an admin for me, shouldn't I? Do you think he'd have done it? Johnny is asking about defenders. It's slim pickings among defenders right now. I need to be honest with you guys on that one. Luke Shaw is a good one to have. Trippier, obviously. Another Newcastle defender if you can do. And then in terms of the other options... I mean, taking a punt on the Spurs defender, picking up the fixture swings. We are still waiting for more doubles to be confirmed though, guys. If I show you... it was Ben's spreadsheet, wasn't it? We could potentially have doubles in 21 and 22. So that's something to keep an eye on. And we're going to have blanks in 25. So it's about trying to get that balance of knowing that you've got more players coming in. That'd be my biggest piece of advice there. Pete has asked, did I consider triple captain on Rashford? Not really, just because I've always known I want to triple captain Haaland this season. So yeah, I've not really considered Rashford in there at all. I can see why some people are going for it, but for me, Haaland, best player that's ever been in the Premier League in terms of goal scoring, so why would I want to triple captain anyone else this season? My luck has got to turn on that triple captain tip soon. Oh, guys, I keep losing my place in the chat. I can't, and like normally, if you join my stream before, you'll know that I like to answer everyone's questions, but you know, going through that is just not going to happen today at all because there's too many of you in here. But please stay with me though. I am enjoying it and I'm grateful to Oscar for sending everyone here. And if you are here, hit that like button. There's 170 likes, 400 of you in. So if you haven't hit that like button yet, what are you doing? Show me some love. And subscribe to the channel as well. Really trying to get to 16,000 managers, 20,000 subscribers before the end of the season. So all of your support on that journey will obviously really help me with that as well. JC says Salah out, De Bruyne in. Yes, I think you can get that one done, particularly if it's for a free transfer. Conte is really, really late for his press conference. However, we will keep an eye out because surely he's got to come soon. I can't see anything anywhere at the moment. Johnny says swap Bruno and Darwin for Rashford and Kane for a -4. I mean, the Bruno to Rashford does feel a little bit sideways, but if that's the only way to fund Darwin to Kane, then get it done. Alex says KDB and Martinelli or Salah and Mahrez. KDB and Martinelli. David said he's doing nothing and rolling a transfer a good idea this week with so many people taking hits. Yeah, particularly if you've got, I don't know, 3, 4, 5 doublers already. I think the key ones to have are Kane, hoping that he doesn't get that extra booking. Rashford, Shaw, Haaland, De Bruyne. If you've got 4 of those 5, then yeah, you can easily roll the transfer, especially knowing that there's more doubles along the way. I mean, I'm lucky in terms of having 2 free transfers. I'm going to be a bit on the back foot. Maldin says Nketiah or Tony, having Edison is necessary, or start Lewis instead of Odegaard. I mean, I wouldn't bench Odegaard. I mean, he's been one of the standout players since the restart. Anything can happen in a derby game. Bikuri says Eriksen or Fernandes instead of Matt. I'm not really that interested in either. Could you go to another Arsenal midfielder instead? Doesn't all have to be about the double game week players this week. I wouldn't recommend using a free hit either this week. I think there's going to be opportunities to really go for it with the free hit, and the fixtures aren't well set up for that this week. Right, I will do a few more questions, but I am going to make my transfers now just so that you can see the final team. I'll make sure I'm actually making the right moves. I always feel a bit stressed when I do this on stream, like, A, because I'm not 100% concentrating, I could make the wrong moves, but then also, then you've all got a record of me messing up. So Bueno's out for Shaw, Salah out for Rashford, Mitrovic out for Kane for a -4. It's done. Don't want any team news now then. I need Shaw on, Botman first sub, Andreas second sub, and I think I'll put Gabriel last this week. So that is my team for double game week 20. I need a bit of luck with this triple captain though, guys. I do need a little bit of luck because it hasn't gone that great. You should be able to see my rank on screen, yeah? I've yo-yoed. I think everyone that's come from Oscar, I'm doing better than Oscar. Only slightly better, but better all the same. We'll take the win at the moment. Well, it's where you land at the end of the season, but they're the moves that I am making. I think I want Rashford as my vice captain, right? Surely. Let's lock it in. It's always good to be playing a triple captain on a week where you've got a really good vice captain as well. In terms of updates, we've still got absolutely nothing from Conte, so I don't know where he's gone, but it doesn't look like we're getting an update there, which is a shame. So I think I'm going to end the stream there. Thank you so much, all of you that are new, that have come across and joined. Really helped me to grow the channel by liking this one, subscribing to the channel as well. All your support is really appreciated, and thank you, Oscar, for sending all you lovely people this way. I'll be back. I'm always streaming on a Friday 1 till 2 to hit the press conferences, so you can find that every week. So do come and join me again. My team is now locked in. Good luck, everyone, for double game week 20, especially those of you that are triple captained on Haaland.